So as we revealed on Saturday, there's 2 trades that have been in the works, and this is what we're going to talk about very quickly here. Of course, the Phantom Draft, though, is coming out on Monday night, so tonight. So keep an eye on AFL.
Don't give away all the secrets, Cal.
I won't. I've still got an afternoon to work on it. That is the deal that we spoke about on Saturday. Carlton's picks 9 and 11 are on the move. Essendon being the front runner to land number 9, using its picks late in the first and early in the second round. And North Melbourne, that was a bit of a surprise to some, coming up the order to get pick 11 using pick 25 and a future second round pick. Some later picks being swapped as part of that as well. So this is going to turn this whole order on its head in some ways. Carlton's pick 9. Well, that is interesting now that the Bombers are set to have it. Now, the deal is still being worked through to some degree, but we're expecting to see the Bombers give up 21, 27 and 30 to get up to pick 9 and probably get something back to be a bit of a backstop for the Adam Swade bid. Okay. Now, what that looks like from pick 9's point of view is then there becomes some tactics all of a sudden. There hasn't been too many tactics in this top rung because it's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. But all of a sudden now, Essendon has to start thinking about, should they get pick 9, have to start thinking about what could get through the Demons picks.
Yep.
And if there is a player that they can take here at 6 or 5 that the Demons might want, or that if there's one they can get through to pick 9 that they might not want as much. So
that's the first sign of a bit of like cat and mouse. We've been saying that this draft maybe's lacked a bit of cat and mouse given the 2 by 2 nature that you mentioned before. Yep. That's the first bit where it could be coming. Yeah,
I think so. And some names that are obviously in that mix include Lockie Doveston, who was at the Bombers and spotted at training last week on the balcony there, watching with obviously Sully Roby and also Xavier Taylor. Now, Lockie Doveston has been a late call-up to the draft on Wednesday night, so I can say that as well. So he's being added to the 13 players that have already been invited, with Cam Nairn invited last week, Lockie Doveston now invited in recent days to attend. So what does that mean from a Bombers point of view, but also the clubs after that who are obviously pretty interested in him as well. Just on the Bombers too, Latrell Pickett is a player that I believe they're speaking to today. So if they do this deal, is he now coming into contention for one of these early picks? That would be a big call, but he's certainly shown a lot of form throughout this season. Now, pick 11 is the North Melbourne pick now. We expect that to be. And Carlton is doing this. Now, I think it's pretty obvious why Carlton's doing this, but just to spell it out, if you haven't watched Gettable at all for the last 6 months, they're doing this because the bid's going to come pretty early for Harry Dean, and also they've got to sort their points scenario for Jack Ison later in the 20s. Now, they could have and absorbed the bid, but that would have pushed their second pick, number 11, into a dangerous area for Jack Ison's bid, which is probably somewhere in the 20s. Yep. And at that point, it becomes a challenge to be able to get those guys without even getting the future pick that they're going to get from North Melbourne for pick 11. So they've enhanced their draft hand for next year, and all the while going to get 2 pretty good players, or very good player in Harry Dean, and a pretty good player as well in Jack Ison. So that's the reason Carlton would be doing these deals. I think that's self-explanatory, maybe not for some, but it also is 2 first-round picks that they're going to have to move off the board. What about Willem Desmond? We just spoke about him there and just saw some of his highlights. He's had a fantastic season. He's obviously very much in the thinking and the strong favourite to be the number 1 pick. Tell us about his year.
Yeah, I mean, he's played just about every position on the ground, effectively, bar ruck, I think, and probably shown some great potential on all those positions, which is pretty valuable at what we're talking about with AFL footy these days, that positional flexibility. So he's played well at championship level, he's played well at VFL level, he's played well for Gippsland, he's played well for the AFL Academy. So he's got a great skill set. He's given himself every opportunity to be a very high pick.
He's been great right the way through, as has another guy in Cooper Duff Tyler. I reckon Cal coined Duffma probably when you got the 1 and 2 picks, or when it looked like you were going to get the 1 and 2 picks. What have you seen from his season as well? Because he's another one that's played in a variety of different positions right through the year.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, like, and he's obviously a bit of school footy at the start of the year as well. And given that he probably hasn't had the chance until this year to really devote a lot of time to his footy, given his basketball background as well. So I think with the big boys, you can judge them pretty harshly at times because there's not that many on the ground. So we probably focus on what they can't do at times, but I think when you put together what he can do is pretty exciting at all levels.
Do you think he starts as a forward when you look at him? I'm not saying you're picking him, although I kind of think you
no,
might. Do you think he can start as a forward though? Like we saw that at VFL level for the Bombers late in the year.
Yeah, I think he can. I think a lot of those big boys tend to do that. Rarely they get thrust into a number 1 ruck roll straight up. So you probably want to ease them into that with their bodies. Guys that can run and cover the ground, probably give yourselves a bit more opportunity to play a bit more ruck as well. So, and potentially with a lot of those other big boys throughout the draft with an extra man on the bench, maybe it is a chance that you could play an 18-year-old bigger boy for a bit longer.
You mentioned the concessions that were afforded to you earlier. Part of that was the 4 extra rookie spots. Our very own Josh Gablich reported last week that Finn McRae looks like winning one of them. There's obviously Dev Robertson coming to the football club as well. How does that process unfold from here for you guys?
Yeah, well, obviously from a pro scout point of view, we've been looking at a lot of those guys during the year, and we think that given where our list balance sits in terms of an age demographic, we needed to add some experience in those rookie positions. So we're really mindful of adding that to a young emerging group. We think getting some high-end talent through the national draft is going to be really important for us, but also adding some experienced guys that have played some AFL football and are still hungry to get there, and we think that actually got the potential to play a lot more AFL footy in those roles. So they'll be able to come in and support those guys as well, but also the carrot will be there for those guys to earn a spot in the first team.
Sorry, I was just laughing because the highlight of Dev with the rib jumper just popped up. I hadn't seen it for a while. The fury of which he throws that jumper.
He plays very much like that, so if he's kicking the footy or tackling someone or throwing a jumper, he's probably going to do it the same way, knowing Dev.
What about in your mix at 3 and 4? I mean, how many names do you reckon you've whittled it down to now in that sort of crop?
Yeah, so we went away and sort of finalised our order, or did pretty much so a couple of weeks ago. So including the academy boys, there's probably eight or nine players that were in the mix for that pick. It's getting a little bit clearer on what West Coast might do now. So that puts us in a good position to really hone in on those players, and yeah, we're sort of down to that number. So
take out the academy boys. So is it 4?
Yeah, probably about four or five. Yeah, that we've been discussing in the last week or so.
And when did you actually come to the point where you settled? Like, how long ago does that happen? Is it different to last year? Obviously, I had pick 1 last year, but you also had pick 6 last year, so you're pretty confident on what that group was going to be.
Yeah, and last year was interesting because we were still getting trade offers right up until and on the night, and we might be in a position to do that again. So we've just got to stay really agile and flexible, as they say, and be ready to go. And that's the challenge of recruiting these days. It's not just you get your picks and you pick at those spots. There's live trade, there's pick swaps, there's clubs might come in. So in that case, yeah, we've got a number of players that we're working through early, and then if we do split, we've got to be across the whole pool really.
Let's talk about a couple of the names. Yep. Sullivan Roby is one of them. It's obviously rose right into the ranks of all these clubs at the top end. And Xavier Taylor is another, both Eastern Rangers boys. Here's Roby to start with. When did you first sort of start to see him as a talent who could be in considerations?
Yeah, so we heard a little bit. And I went down to Gippsland to watch the Gippy Eastern game. It was a pretty red-hot game, 2 quality sides. Sully played half forward and played on Willem Dersman for a little bit. Ders went back and just hit up at the ball a couple of times and caught the eye. And then from there, it was sort of tracking him pretty closely, made sure we had someone out at each of the games. And then sort of famously popped in that game against Western with his 40 disposals. So finished off with a quality final series. So yeah, he's certainly a player that we've tracked closely, and it adds a bit of spice to the draft, and I know you guys like it when a bolter comes in. And he's earned that title. He's played really good footy, and the more you get to know him, the more you realise he's a quality person, and his story's been great.
What about XT?
Yeah.
Taylor? We've had him on the desk as well. He's got some confidence. He plays with that sort of style as well.
Yeah, we like X. And I've been watching him since the 16s. He obviously played Metro at the 16s and probably more of a lockdown defender, but added some real weapons to his game this year. And he's a great interview. Probably what you see is what you get when he does his media. It's the same at his house. He's relaxed, but he's confident. It's no secret that he loves Richmond, so he's been pretty strong with us that he's our man, and yeah, he's certainly in consideration because the way that he plays, it suits the way that Richmond play.
What about the Sams in Sam Cumming and Sam Grill? Sam Cumming, we just spoke about earlier. You were on the flight to Mildura last week. Firstly, how was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how you found that out. It's credit to you.
My Mildura mail is excellent.
He's got Flight Tracker up.
Blair Hartley bought some sushi at the airport, so I feel like he might have gone through his credit card. No, it was good.
What did he get? He'd be a tuna and avocado man.
Yeah, a bit of sashimi and pretty fancy stuff from Blair.
Seaweed salad.
We did go out and see Sammy in Mildura. It was good. He's obviously been boarding at PAC and haven't had the opportunity to go meet his family yet, so pretty routine sort of family visit, but we were on the plane and that struck up a little bit of interest. But yeah, quality family, good person, and someone that we've been watching again since the 16th, so another one that's in our mix.
What about Louis Kellaway as a father-son? There's obviously Richmond supporters watching this. You've nominated him without any guarantees, and a lot of clubs have done that as well. We just had Matt on as well, speaking about Charlie Banfield in a similar sort of spot at the Eagles. But firstly, what do you see as Louis' strengths? And secondly, what's the read on if he gets through? Does he get through a little bit later? What's the sense?
Yeah, it's probably up to the other clubs as to where he gets to. I know that there's some clubs that have done some work on him. He obviously got a national combine invite, which shows that there's some interest there. His strengths are that he's really well-rounded, Louis. Like he's got really high footy IQ. His ability to find space in traffic. He's got fast feet.
There's his dad, of course, Duncan.
Yeah, and Duncan's was a legend of our club, and his brother Andrew as well. So we're really wary of the fact that how much they've contributed to us. But Louis is a player in his own right, and we're treating him as such. And his year was really consistent. His sample form was quality, and then he backed that up at the champs and had a really super consistent champs as well. So he's versatile. He can play a range of different positions, and we've done a fair bit of work with him, and he's a quality young man. So I guess like what every club's going to say about their NGA and academy boys, you just got to see where it plays out and just work through it accordingly.
Zeke Ulan looks like being the first player bid on. Is that your sense as well from an academy point of view?
It looks that way at this stage, but we're also aware that things can change in the last sort of 48 hours leading in, so we'll be pretty wary and stay on the phones to see what might transpire.
Zeke the Freak put his name on an early pick last year, didn't he, really? I mean, playing for the Allies, All-Australian as a bottom major, played some VFL footy last year, come back after injury in the second half of this season. Where does he fit in or start his career? Because he can move around the square. Well, what's your view on position-wise where he fits in, Zeke? Yeah,
I think firstly, you mentioned the injury, so credit to Zeke and the work that he did, as well as those around him supporting him to get back from his injury. The family had been through it before with Bodie, obviously a very similar injury. So for him to go through that in his draft year is a challenge. For any kid to go through an injury in their draft year is a significant challenge. But for Zeke to get through that and then still get back and play some footy, firstly, he should be really proud of himself. Secondly, I think you're right. He's a significant talent and he can play anywhere on the ground. We'll leave that to Damien in the coaching panel to decide where they want him. That's up to them.
What about the Rocket? We think he's got the best highlights package in it. I reckon Dill might even agree. I mean, this guy, NRL clubs came for him. It's kind of the other way around, isn't it? It wasn't as if NRL, you converted him from NRL, but they came for him. He stuck true to footy and he's going to be a real big player for you.
Yeah, and again, credit to the academy. That's why we do it. First and foremost is to attract people to our game. It's not lost on us that we're still a non-traditional football market, and it's incumbent on us to continue to grow the game. There's talent outcomes associated with that, and you see that with Dylan wanting to play our sport, but there's also the significant benefits and an engagement piece of bringing fans to the game, people wearing the colours, the whole growth of the game. That's the main focus of the academy, and the talent outcome is another layer on top of that too.
Let's start with 5 and 6 because we've just had Richmond on the show, we've had West Coast on the show. Not giving too much away, but what's your sense on who is going to be maybe gone or potentially available?
Yeah, it's still a little bit of an unknown. Obviously, we're trying to predict the best we can, but there's some uncertainty. So really all we can work with is just ranking our players and seeing what sort of comes through. But yeah, it's quite an even group and we feel like we're going to have some access to some really good talent.
How many names have you got in that mix now? I mean, how far can you actually whittle it down?
Taking out the academy boys.
Yeah, there's still around 5 to 6 that we see in that top end of the pool. So yeah, the exciting thing is there's a lot of different types as well. So yeah, you might be able to get a good mix, but the good thing about a lot of the young boys coming through these days is they're versatile. They play in numerous positions across the course of the year. So a lot of them bring that flexibility, but yeah, there's some good talent.
So Sullivan, Roby and Xavier Taylor were at the club on Friday with Lockie Doveston as well, spotted on the balcony there. What's the process in getting him there a week out from the draft, and are those two, particularly with 5 and 6 in the mix?
Yeah, we interview the boys during the year. We try and get out to their homes as much as we can. But yeah, we like to spend as much time with them as we can to get to know them. So it was a good opportunity to get them into the club and watch a bit of training. And Sully's he's a big Essendon fan, so it was great to show them through. But yeah, we have plenty of players sort of come through late and have a look around and show them the facilities and yeah, spend some more time with them.
It's going to be a big year for you next year as well. We always look ahead on this show, and it's clearly going to be a big year next year as well. there's already been links to Zach Bailey and Josh Weddle in amongst that. How aggressive do you want to be across the next 12 months in that space?
Yeah, well, it's a really important piece of putting a list together is bringing in mature talent. We'll always target A-grade talent and then those role specifics, which we feel like we've been able to do with Braden Fiorini this year, bringing in a player that knows what it takes and can play consistent AFL footy and is a great character as well. So we've already seen the impact. He's back training early with the younger boys and the impact he's having with them and leadership. So yeah, we will look to be aggressive and hopefully we can capitalise on some opportunities.
Just more specifically on that Weddle offer, like that's a significant offer. $10 million or so, 7+ years, as we've reported on this show at this desk. You must rate him as a player.
Oh, well, I won't go into the specifics of offering players contracts, but in terms of Josh, he's a fantastic player that looks like he's got a really high ceiling, so no doubt there's plenty of interest across the competition for a player like Josh.
Let's talk about Harry Cole, because if he is the first picked of the Academy boys, it's been quite a rise in that sort of second half of the season. Tell us about when you first started to sense that he could be a player for you.
Yeah, it was probably at the start of the year. He was relatively unknown heading into the year, Harry, and it's a credit to him and his football journey and how far he's come to where he's touted now. Obviously, rugby background, another one through our academy that's got an opportunity to play and go through the pathways through our academy. So I think the credit to the academy as well for developing this kid to be what he is now. He's obviously a lovely athlete. He's got that sideways movement with that rugby background. He's got a little bit to learn about the game, but his rate of development's been significant throughout the year, and he's had a fantastic year. Played all 4 games for the Allies, and it's a credit to him and his family with how he's going.
Max King came into the year with a lot of hype. Talk to us about his upside, because he's an athletic prospect. We maybe didn't see it as much as we would have liked throughout the year, but he has got that immense upside, doesn't he? Yeah,
he does. I mean, his ceiling's pretty high. When he puts it all together, the question for him has been that consistency piece, and I'm sure we'll talk about Lockie in a second. He's probably probably the opposite in terms of the consistency. But look, Max's best is really appealing, and he's got some athletic traits that not many others in this draft have, and he's got a fair bit to work on, but he's got a fair bit to work with as well. So whilst he hasn't had a super consistent year at times, some of his best has been really good and warranted of getting called out in the national draft.
You mentioned Lockie Carmichael there, how he has been Mr. Consistency right the way through, hardly put a foot wrong. You must like what you've seen from him.
Yeah, no doubt. His consistency is probably what he underpins his game on, and he's MVP for the Allies through this carnival, and you rock up knowing pretty much what he's going to produce week in, week out. Which is a credit to him and the way he goes about his footy. I think it's been great for all of our boys as well to have that taste of VFL experience throughout the year as well. So he's played some senior footy along with the other boys as well. But again, he's another one from our group. We wait and see where the bid comes, but he should be really proud about what he's achieved this year.
Noah Chamberlain's another one. It could be a later selection or a rookie option as well, as a player who impressed a fair bit last year, even heading into this season.
Yeah, certainly as a 17-year-old, he showed some really promising glimpses, and at times this year he's played some good footy as well. He's been sort of shuffled around a little bit on a wing and half back and half forward, so probably hasn't found that consistent position, but again was another player that played consistently through the Allies, and look, whether he gets his name called out, we'll wait and see.
You also played, I think it was 14 senior sample games for Centrals over the last couple of seasons, which is a massive effort for someone of your age. I mean, what did that teach you, and how well did that prepare you for what's about to come in an AFL landscape?
Oh, massively, yeah. I guess being able to be exposed to senior bodies in a league where the ball moves quite quickly, but it's also very contested as well, was, massive for my development, not just this year, but also in the final series last year as well. I guess I had to adapt my game quite a bit. In the 18s, being a little bit of a bigger body, I was able to get away with a little bit more than what I could in the seniors. So whether that had been given the ball a bit quicker or, trying to get the ball on the outside and use my decision making and my speed and agility a little bit more was areas that came through and really helped me coming into this year to then put that to the forefront to recruiters and to AFL clubs.
So Essendon's in the mix, and you barracked for them as a kid. Tell us about your journey barracking for the Bombers.
When I was little, I kind of went for every team. So whoever won on the night, I'd go for them. And then, it'd get to Sunday, and whoever had the last game and won, that would be my team for the week until the first game on the Thursday or the Friday again. But I was sitting in my lounge room with Dad watching the footy. I was watching the Bombers play, and I heard Dyson Heppel's name come across the commentary. And never really heard anyone with my name before. So once I heard his name, at the time he was, had the long blonde dreads, captain of the footy club, an absolute superstar. So, from then on, once I heard his name, I was all for the Bombers and had too much merch and too much loyalty and love in the heart for the Bombers to go for anyone else from then on. And, stuck with them the right way through.